Thank you. Good afternoon, Minister. The residential tenancy bill is another government effort to patch up the pandemic-sized hole in the tapestry of this country. And for patchwork, the Minister is doing a decent job. The pandemic has left our already compromised housing market with a stream of tensions and issues, and it is important to recognise that. It is important to recognise that some of the legislation that has been passed during the pandemic is effectively gloss. We are passing amendments and provisions that will not fix anything, but admittedly, certainly ease hardship and assist those who need assistance. However, will the residential tenancy bill fix the problem renters face in this nation? Will it fix the issues that tenants face? Will it solve or improve the crisis in our housing market, or in any meaningful or long-term way? No, it will not. As I said, for the most part, I do welcome the residential tenancy bill. I welcome many aspects of it. I welcome the fact that the government is extending protections for tenants who, through no fault of their own, have found themselves in rent arrears thanks to COVID and never-ending lockdowns. In a briefing note provided to senators, it was claimed that low-income tenants are disproportionately employed in sectors that are severely affected by COVID-19. They need the assistance that the bill will provide. I welcome the fact that the government is offering specific protections for students renting student accommodation. Several protections are those which the USI has called for. Students will only be required to give 28 days' notice if they need to terminate their residency. Students will also not be required to provide upfront payments to secure their accommodation. For students in third-level education who have suffered through a year and a half of educational uncertainty and who continue to live in limbo as regards their college experience and life, these are very positive steps. However, as for other aspects of the bill's permanent change, I do not welcome these. The residential tenancy bill is not the first short-sighted bill that we have enacted in recent weeks, and unfortunately I do not think it will be the last. Renters are not suffering solely because of COVID. Renters suffered before COVID, and they will suffer long after the pandemic if this government refuses to address the issue of supply. I have spoken before on this in the first stage of the debate on the Affordable Housing Bill, and I remarked that the bill was an expensive and ineffective solution to the housing crisis. Now we are again adopting legislation which only patches up holes in the tapestry. It only glosses over gaps. It kicks the problem further down the path. In COVID times, there is a certain element of patching required, a certain degree of glossing needed, and of course problems have had to be kicked down the path to deal with the major problems at hand. But it is vital that we realise this bill does not fix, it does not solve, and it does not serve any long-term change. Under Section 2 of the Residential Tenancy Bill, certain tenants are protected from rent increases and evictions until January. This is much needed and deserved protection, which many will be glad of. But that is only until January. What about after January? Can the government ensure that we will have an open end and functioning economy free of stress and strains lockdowns placed on it? Can the government ensure that those in rent arrears because of COVID will be positioned to get themselves out from under these arrears by January? Or will the government continue to extend, enhance and endeavour to avoid effective and everlasting solutions? On this note, what about those who do not get protection from the enhanced protection in this bill? Those in rent arrears because rents are too high, as opposed to COVID-related reasons. The bill overlooks them, and no bill which we have passed of late serves them in any meaningful way. We aid to provide subsidies. We provide myopic resolutions. We do not provide houses. We do not provide affordable houses. We do not provide affordable houses, and we do not facilitate our landlords, planning developers and builders to provide them either. According to the Central Bank, we require 34,000 new dwellings every year for the next 10 years to meet demand. The ERSI has predicted that we will build only 15,000 this year. I think it is safe to say we will not meet our supply requirements. Supply, supply, supply. It is the elephant in the room. Today's bill, per Section 5 provisions, will permanently enact a ban on upfront payments to the value of more than 2 months' rent when securing tenancies. But this does nothing to bring monthly rent costs down, so it does nothing to benefit renters in the long term. In addition, this change makes the life of landlords more laborious. I heard an interview with Margaret McCormick of the Irish Property Owners Association the other week. Ms McCormick outlined the impact of these deposit-related restrictions on landlords. As she pointed out, landlords are the ones taking the risk. If it becomes unaffordable for them to rent property, then they will stop letting property to rent. And if this happens, supply tightens, demand remains high, and our prices will continue to rise and rise and rise. Then what does it matter how much the upfront payment you can ask for? I welcome the bill. Students need protecting, which they are getting. Those struggling in the face of the pandemic need protection, which they are getting. But solutions, there are very few in this bill. It is a temporary measure. It is a measure of indefinite solution. I welcome the bill and I invite discussion about the longer term plan here. Infinite extensions of emergency restrictions are getting less effective by the second. I also want to highlight something to you, Minister, just outside this bill. The scheme that we have in relation to vacant homes, where you allocated an extra 20,000, going from 40,000 up to 60,000, to renovate these homes. From 2017 to 2020, only 247 people took up that scheme. In light of the ever-increasing costs that people have in renovating these homes, I think you might need to look again at that and maybe increasing that amount from 60,000 to 80,000. So thank you, Minister, for listening to me, and I appreciate your comments on that. Thank you.